Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Allie. I have some housekeeping things before I go on. So I actually had 2 months worth of video footage filmed and ready to upload, ready to edit, ready to upload. And as I was editing it, I just didn't like it. It didn't feel like I was enjoying the content that I was making. So it led me to think more critically about the content that I was putting on the internet. And so with that being said, the way that I want to do things moving forward is this. I want to make it a goal to post 3 days a week, but if I don't, I don't. And I don't want to pre-film because I just feel like, at least right now in this moment, first of all, pre-filmed content isn't necessary because I don't make money on this platform. And I make content other places. So if you are missing out on my content for some reason, I'm going to make it a point to post on some sort of social media account every single day, whether it be Instagram Reels, TikTok, or this platform. So please follow me on all my other platforms. It's AliRaeBanz everywhere. But that way, if I'm not posting here, you'll know why. I also kind of want to shift what my content is about. I still want to continue making makeup content. I still want to continue making true crime content, but I would like to add in some bookish content. I would like to add in some fashion content. Me saying this, the least fashionable person on the planet. And I would also like to start making, my brain just froze. What was the other thing I wanted to start making? I can't remember. But there was another piece of content that I wanted to make. Oh, mental health. I'm pushing myself away from fitness content, and I have been for a while. I'll still be discussing fitness a little bit on my Instagram, but I'm struggling with mental health, so I'm trying to contend my love for fitness with mental health and also trying to find what works and blah, blah, blah. So I don't plan on having any fitness content on this platform at all. So if you're here for that, I'm sorry, but you can follow me on Instagram. Again, it's AliRaeBanz. So with that being said, again, I don't know how consistent I'm going to be, but I really want to make it a goal to post 3 times a week. Yeah, so I'm also in a new area. This is actually my husband's domain. If you hear the dryer and the washer, I live here, so I don't know what you want me to do. So today I'm gonna do a really outdated tag. Whatever you want to call it, my makeup heroes, my all-time favorites, my ride or dies. These are the products that I repurchase the most, or the ones that back me out of trouble, or the ones that just, I look at these and I'm like, yes, you are the ones. And they're not necessarily the ones if I could just pick one, but they're the ones that if I'm traveling or if I'm going somewhere, if I'm I need to get ready really quick, they're the products that I know are going to work in a specific way. I just smudged my makeup. In a specific way, exactly how I want them to. So that's what we're talking about today. Whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. I'm going to go in the order that I put things on my face. I'm wearing everything right now. So I'm feeling sassy because I have straight hair. We're gonna start with brows because I always do brows first. And I think I put my brow products at the bottom of my bag, so that will be really fun for me to dig out. Yeah, I did put them at the bottom of this bag. I'm gonna start with my most repurchased product of all time, which is the Anastasia Brow Wiz. People are always I go through this like water. I can go through one in a month. I don't know how people are using this. But this one has lasted me a year, and I have a backup. So even when I run out, or this might be the backup, I don't know. But I don't go through this very often. But this is my superior brow product. It's the one that, because I don't go through it very fast, I don't mind to pay a little bit more for it. And the shade is perfect. I'm in the shade medium brown, and even as a blonde, I'm medium brown. And this is what it looks like at full opacity, but as you can see, I don't really use it in that way. I just kind of feather it in. And I find that it's such a pointed tip that I can get precise hair-like strokes, but I can also shape them in, and I get the exact brow look I want 100% of the time. And I've tried other brow products and I've liked them, but my thing is I want a product that, and the case is for all of these that I'm getting ready to talk about. I want a product that performs exactly the same 100% of the time, no matter what I'm using with it. So that's what I get with my Anastasia Brow Wiz. I get the same result every single time, and that's it. And so I know in light of like Becca like going under, I do think like, what would I do if Anastasia went under? Because this is my favorite brow product, and honestly, I can envision myself right now going to the store and just like picking up every medium brown Brow Wiz and buying it because this is my favorite product. So then it got me thinking, I like clear brow gels, and I like the Anastasia one a lot. That one is my favorite. I just haven't repurchased it in a while because I've been doing that thing that you're not supposed to do, where I'm going on a wild goose hunt trying to find the clear brow gel that I like more. And the only one that I found that compares is this one, and it's the e.l.f. times Jen Atkin brow gel. The problem is I'm 100% certain this is limited edition, and while this works very similarly, it's not 100% the same. So I'm mentioning clear brow gels in general because I just have to have a clear brow gel, but it's not necessarily this one. I would probably choose the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel, which it just pisses me off because I don't like the wand on it and I don't like the price, but the formula is so good. So last thing in regards to brows are tinted brow gels. Again, this is not the normal one I purchase, but now that I have it again, I'm like, why don't I keep repurchasing this? This is the Anastasia, I think this is called like the dip brow gel. I used to be a dip brow gal, okay? I used to have those, like, you know what I'm talking about. I used to have those. I don't have those anymore, but then this came out and I was like, okay, what is this like? And it is like they took dip brow, liquefied it, and said, okay, what can we give the girls that don't want blocky brows and want the feathery brows instead but want them to be bold? We give them this. So this one, I'm in the shade taupe. I've actually tried medium brown in the past and it was just far too dark. So I have this one. It's a little bit grayer, and I use these when I don't want a super bold brow, or not even a super bold brow. I don't have time. Like, I don't even have time, okay? So I'm just like slapping this on, and that's what I like about this, is it's pretty mindless. I have in the past bought the Makeup Revolution one, and that's the one that I've been repurchasing pretty consistently. My one issue with all of these is when they get to the end and they get goopy, I get like those little gloops in my brows and they're so hard to fix. But it's 10 minutes and I've talked about 3 products. I've got to go. I've got to get it together. And no, I haven't gotten lip filler yet, but I will be getting lip filler in a few weeks. So bring on the have you gotten lip filler comments, because I'll tell you straight up that I did. Okay, let's talk about eyes. Again, it's at the bottom of that. Okay, so there is one thing that I don't like about this, and it's the shade. I don't love the shade of this, but the formula of this is so good. It's the LA Girl Pro Primer. So I started watching Robert Welsh on YouTube, and he talked about eyeshadow primer and how you should be using eyeshadow primer as opposed to concealer. And his reasoning why just made so much sense to me. So I wanted to switch over to an eyeshadow primer, but having never used an eyeshadow primer, or the only ones I've ever used are like the clear ones, like the Milani and the Urban Decay, I wanted to just dip my toes in to these thicker, less emollient eyeshadow primers. So I found this one, and it's in a stick form, and you'll see the shade and like why I don't like it. It's like yellow and it's a bit dark, and it looks like this. Like, it looks like I could wear it as like an eyeshadow, but the formula of this, it's, how do I word it in a way that is going to sound okay? It's, you put it on your eyes, and I use a brush to blend it out, a like packed brush. And when you're first using it, you're like, okay, this feels a little dry, but it doesn't look dry on the eyes. It doesn't flake or anything like that. And it's stiff because you need that stiffness to get eyeshadow to blend. I now know what people mean when they say that an eyeshadow doesn't work and I know that it's not the primer. Because when I was using concealer, sometimes eyeshadow wouldn't work and I'd go back and use it a different time and I'd try a different concealer and it would work. But with this, 100% success rate. And like I said, that's the type of products that these are. 100% success rate. I know an eyeshadow works not because of the primer. Wait, hold on. I know when an eyeshadow doesn't work, not because of the primer, but because of the eyeshadow. So I love that. Like I said, I don't love the shade. I'm actually trying the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer right now. Not sure how I feel about it. Not sure how I feel about it. For eyeshadow, I only have one eyeshadow product, okay? Which every time I watched videos like this, it was like people had like a million eyeshadows or eyeshadow products. I was able to narrow it down to one instantly. It's the Natasha Denona Gold Palette. It's what I'm wearing on my eyes today. And this palette, I take it if I travel. If I know I'm going somewhere, this is, without hesitation, this is the palette that I bring. And the reason that I like this is because you can create a multitude of looks with it. And I love warm eyeshadows. I think warm eyeshadows complement my complexion so much. But for so long, I was trying to find the perfect warm brown eyeshadow palette. And everything was coming up short. I had the Morphe 350 and I liked it, but I didn't love it. I had the Modern Renaissance palette, liked it, didn't love it. I had the Urban Decay Naked Heat. I had the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes. I had all of these warm brown eyeshadows, but nothing was quite right. And it was because I wanted something that was more grounded in brown. Like I wanted a brown eyeshadow palette that was also warm. I didn't want a neutral brown eyeshadow palette. So then when I saw this, I eyed it so hard because I was like, I think I'm gonna like it, but I don't know. My husband was like, just buy it, it's fine. And I bought it and I have been pleased ever since. And I will say I was a little hesitant to buy it too because I bought the Star palette and I didn't like it. I actually recently decluttered it because I just didn't like it at all. But this I love so much. You can use it every single day. You can use it for special events. I mean, it just, there's so many formulas in here. I could go on and on, but this is truly the eyeshadow palette that I turn to if I either don't know what I want to do, if I want a quick easy look, or if I need, like if I want a smoky eye, or if I'm going on a date and I want a really nice eyeshadow palette. This is the one I turn to. And I think if you like these tones, you'll really like it. I've decluttered so many eyeshadows since purchasing this because I just don't need them. This is my perfect eyeshadow palette. My perfect warm eyeshadow palette. Now, every now and then I do like a cool eyeshadow, but I didn't want to include that in here because I wanted to talk about my all-time favorites, and that is my all-time favorite. And there's no cool tone eyeshadow palette in my collection that I'm like, that is number one. I like them all equally. That is a standout product. Okay, now let's do eyeliner. So I'm not gonna like beat a dead horse with this, but NYX eyeliners are by far my favorite. There's no other eyeshadow brand that even compares, like for the price, for the variety, for the formula, everything. So NYX wins eyeliner. I think if you need an eyeliner, pick up NYX. So for mascara, this is not the specific one, but I was really trying to think hard about what is my most repurchased mascara, period. And for me, it's not just one mascara. I don't have just one mascara that I can tell you like this one is my all-time favorite one. You know, I really like the Thrive, but I've never repurchased it. I've always just gotten it in like Ipsy bags, and I've loved it, but I've never felt compelled to repurchase it. I really love the Glossier Lash Slick, but again, I've never felt compelled to repurchase it. I have something in my eye. I've been trying really pricey mascaras recently, and I've been sorely disappointed by all of them because they flake off my face. I'm using the Pat, not right now, I'm wearing this one right now, but the Pat McGrath I've tried, it smudges. I tried the new Anastasia Lash Rag, it smudges. But Maybelline mascaras have yet to let me down. So this one is the Lash Sensational. I like this one. I love their new one, the Sky High formula. Love that. I'm trying to think of what their other ones are, and I'm drawing a blank, but I've tried so many of their mascaras, and so many of them are superior that I just don't feel the need to go out and purchase high-end mascaras. And as you can see, I have no qualms against high-end makeup at all, but for these products that we repurchase and we repurchase, you have to do something really special for me to want to repurchase you. And the Thrive definitely has something special because it's that tubing formula, but doesn't beat Maybelline. It doesn't. So Maybelline mascaras are by far my hero mascaras. Okay, I think we're out of eye territory. I really don't have anything left to talk about, so let's talk about primer. This was kind of difficult because for the most part, I really just like a moisturizer. But when I want a primer, what do I like? I like hydrating and I like pore filling. This one meets all of those. It's the Tula Face Filter Blurring and Moisturizing Primer. I'm wearing this today. This has a slight tint, so it does make me look a little tanner than what I am, but it has that property that I was talking about, that it blurs your pores while also somehow moisturizing. And I just think anything that goes on top of it looks so good. So like I said, the Tula Face Filter Blurring and Moisturizing Primer. Now, do you need this? No. I think a moisturizer or a sunscreen works just fine. Oftentimes, I put on my Tula sunscreen and put on foundation and I'm out the door. But if you like that extra step, especially for the blurring, this is a really good product. Or you can also use this just as a blurring primer, and you don't, you can just put it in your T-zone and then have something glowy on top. So that's my favorite primer, baby. Let me go turn off my dryer. Okay, so for foundation, again, I wanted this to be something that right when I opened the drawer, I knew what I was going to pick out. And this is for sure that category. The L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear is my all-time favorite. I have high-end foundations in my drawer right now, and I can tell you that I would choose this over all of them. I wear the shade 415. It's my perfect shade. I also have a self-tan shade that I use when I self-tan, but this is a product that no matter how I apply it, it looks good. It looks good with a brush. It looks good with a sponge. I've never tried it with my fingers, but it probably looks good with your fingers. It's a natural finish. So currently I have dry skin, but I've had oily skin in the past, and I find that it works well with both. It doesn't break up. It is pretty mask friendly. It's not perfect. I don't think there's any foundation that will completely withstand wearing a mask all day, but this is close. This is the closest that I found. And I found that when it does wear off, whether it's because of a mask or whatever, it wears off really nicely. It doesn't get cakey. I can build it up and wear it full coverage, but for the most part, I like it to be at that like medium coverage range. But this is it. It has sunscreen in it, but I mean, it has like 25, so don't count on it for your sunscreen protection, but it's good. And I know the drugstore prices, especially L'Oreal, have been going up, but this, if it performs like a high-end foundation, plus you get the nice packaging, I'll pay it. I don't know. I just feel like we can sit and cry about it, or we can, I don't know, fight for a better economy. I don't know. I'm also going to talk about concealer, but I want to talk about powder really quick because I also use this as a foundation, but I like it as both. It's the L'Oreal Infallible Powder. I mean, I bought this like a month ago, and you can already see how much of it I've used, and it's because this is a really darn good foundation. And I'm not a powder foundation gal generally. I prefer a liquid foundation because all the powder foundations I've tried just look so heavy on the skin. Not this. This is such a good foundation. It has almost the same amount of coverage as the Fresh Wear. And it is the Fresh Wear powder foundation. Of course, it's hard to find right now because someone talks about it on TikTok and it went viral, and so not everyone bought it. But this also works really well as a powder, and especially if you're someone that uses like tinted moisturizers, I find that this works really well. Like even with the Kosas Tinted Face Oil, which is the most finicky tinted moisturizer I've ever tried in my life. This works with it. So I love it. I think it's so good. It looks good under the eyes. If I could have it for every portion of my face, like under eyes, normal foundation, if I could find it at the moment, I would buy more shades just so I can have it for every scenario. But you can't find it. So now to move on to concealer. This is one of the only categories where I have multiple, okay? Now I'm really mad because I did have a different concealer picked out, but I put it on, I'll show you. I put it on and it looks really bad. My under eyes look really bad, right? It was the Milani Conceal and Perfect, and I've been using that for a really long time, but I haven't repurchased it, and I just repurchased it recently, and I think they changed the formula. So I was like, I'm not talking about it in the event that they did change the formula, or maybe my skin is just now too dry for it. That was previously my most repurchased concealer, but now, and the Maybelline Fit Me, but these two concealers, I love them so much. So for me, it takes a lot to repurchase something high-end, like repurchase, because it has to be really good. And the Glossier Stretch is one of those products where I like products that have multi-use. I think you can see that. I like things that can be used in multiple different ways. And the Glossier Stretch makes a really good concealer, but it also makes a really, really good light coverage foundation. And it's not the most long wearing, and it doesn't claim to be because it is very emollient. It is one of those products that you do feel it stretching, but I love how, what was I saying? I like that you can use it with your fingers, you can use it with a sponge, or you can use it with a brush. My preference is using it with my double-ended It Cosmetics brush. But yeah, it's just really good, and I don't think it's for everyone. I think I can see why some people wouldn't like it, but I find that I like it. And I've gone through two of these. I'm in the shade G11, and it's pretty much a perfect shade match. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, I also have the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. This is new to me, so, you know, you can argue that I shouldn't be talking about it. Some of these products are new to me, but I already know that I love them. This concealer is a little bit too dark for me, but this concealer surprised me because when I first used it, I was like, this is too dry. It's too dry, I don't like it. But now that I've kind of like figured out how to use it, I have two preferred methods, either my double-ended It Cosmetics brush, or I just apply it with my fingers. And something about the fingers works really well over top of foundation, and something about the brush works really well under foundation. I'm making this sound way more finicky than it is. It is not a finicky product at all. And I have dry skin and really dry under eyes, and I find that even though it's matte, it has this quality to it. It's not a hydrating quality, but it's just a movable quality, and I really, really enjoy it. It's great for spots. I love using this with the L'Oreal powder foundation. That's my those two are my favorite combos for the skin, but it's just really good. And this is one of the few concealers that I will use as an eyeshadow primer because I don't use concealer anymore, but this has it almost feels similar to that I've lost all of my eyeshadow primer, so I'm sure it's on my clothes. Yeah, it sure is. It's on my shirt. But it has very similar qualities to the LA Girl eyeshadow primer, so I can see why it works. And it, you know, it kind of does act like that as well. Like when you first put it on, you're like, ooh, this is gonna be dry, it's not gonna spread, and then it does, and it looks beautiful. That is exactly how I would describe the LA Girl primer too. So, love those. Both. I have no tube concealer products to talk about because I have become a tub convert, okay? So, let's talk about cheeks because we have a lot to talk about. So I was stuck between two favorite bronzers and ended up deciding to go with the one that actually had a shade range because I love the Marc Jacobs Tantastic bronzer, the one that smells like a coconut, but there's only one shade of it. So while this is not leaps and bounds better, this does have a shade range. It's the Lawless Beauty bronzer. I don't remember the shade, but this is the lightest shade. I mean, I obviously really enjoy it. I'm wearing it today. This bronzer just continues to impress me time after time. Doesn't have a scent, but I find the shade really, really good for my skin tone, but I also dab it off, so I feel like if you're a little bit deeper, I think you could use this. I feel so bad. My husband has duty again, and they're on like a 4-day duty rotation at the moment because they're so understaffed, and it's been like this for like a year, and I was like, can't they request like more people? Like, it's the military, like, and they're like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the politics of the military. It's just like very odd, but I feel so bad because he works so much and I'm just like at home. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not going to talk forever about this bronzer. I really, really love it. I think it's a great bronzer. It's a great shade. The packaging's nice. And it's not a super creamy bronzer, because I find that with creamy bronzers, they tend to like get all over my face. That's why I can't wear the like butter bronzer, because I really like that one, but I find that it just like moves around like when I'm applying it, and I want it to be a little bit stiffer so that way I can actually blend it in. So I love this bronzer. How many times can I say it? I love that bronzer. I have no cream bronzers to talk about because I've kind of moved away from cream bronzer a little bit. I don't really know why. I've just preferred a matte bronzer, and like when I say matte, I mean like I have and like this is not me, because like a few years ago I think I had a whole video about like shiny bronzers, but I've moved away from that, and now I much prefer just a matte bronzer. The same cannot be said about blush, so let's talk about blush. My favorite, oh my god, like I know when I edit this I'm gonna be so annoyed because I keep like bending down and I'm talking. Anyway, I love the Milani Color Harmony Berry Rays blush. This blush, first of all, the color, it's a mix of 4 different types of blushes, and all of those blushes are like my favorite, and then you mix them together and they create this just like beautiful nudie like shimmery blush. I have it on my face right now, as do I have with all products, all of the products that I talked about, and I don't know if this is sold anymore, so I feel really bad talking about it, but sometimes they'll come out and like re-release stuff, so I don't know. But I like this because it's not super pigmented, but Milani tends to have a shade range, right? So even though this may not work for everyone, they have, I remember when these came out, they had like a lighter one and then a darker one and then a darker one, which I love. And I love that it mixes like the matte with the shimmery, so it's not overly shimmery. Like I don't really like Luminoso because I find Luminoso a little bit too glowy, but this is like the perfect balance between matte and glowy blush. So I really like that. I like a matte blush that looks like a cream, is kind of like how I feel about matte blush or blushes in general. So I had to talk about it because I think if you look in my description box for the past year, you'll see this. And if you look on my Instagram even farther than that, you'll see that blush. I did forget that I had another blush, and this is so I watch Khaki Reviews Makeup or Reviews Beauty. She talks about like getting you out of trouble shades, and this is a get you out of trouble shade. This is the Butter Blush in the shade Plum Rose. I don't often wear this on its own because it's a bit too cool, and if you layer it, it can look like a bruise. But when I put on a blush and I'm like, ooh, it got a little too warm, or if I'm trying a new bronzer and I'm like, ooh, that's a little too warm, or even eyeshadow, if I put on an eyeshadow, I'm like, this is too red or whatever, I can apply this and it cools down whatever is underneath of it that is creating that warmth that I don't want. So I think this isn't necessary for everyone, but I really like having a product like this on hand. So if I do have that moment where I'm like, oh, I got a little too heavy-handed, what else is new? I can pull this out and I can count on it to cool everything down and kind of tame it down without the use of powder, because I find that sometimes when I do that, I'm like fighting this battle between like, oh, this is taking away too much of it or whatever, and it's not going to take away any It's not going to take away any of the pigment. It's just going to cool it down a little bit. So, and you know, the same can be said for like other products. I just don't find that I have an issue where something becomes too cool toned. It's normally I've made something too warm. So let's talk about cream blushes because I have a couple more. We're going to talk about Milani again because these cheek kisses are absolutely amazing. They are these like balmy, I have something on my nose. These like balmy, beautiful, oh my God, it won't come off. Cream blushes, and they dry down enough where like I don't feel like they transfer or that I'm wearing like a lip gloss on my face, but they stay dewy enough that you just look juicy on the cheeks. These are so good. And you can wear these on your lips, I think. I mean, I don't know. I don't wear them on my lips, but this is fairly new to me, so I don't want to like get too in depth about it. But for a while, the drugstore did not have a good cream blush option. This is the first one that I found that I feel like is a very solid, good cream blush option at the drugstore that competes with higher end blushes. So it also doesn't pick up foundation. I prefer these with a brush, but the way that I do it is I tap it in, tap it on the back of my hand, and then go in on both cheeks because otherwise it will be too pigmented. So these are really, really good. I really like them. This is if you like something in a pot. If you like something in a tube, got something for you. You could not think I was going to do a whole video and not talk about the Glossier Cloud Paints because these were my first foyer into cream products, and I have not looked back. I love the Glossier Cloud Paints. They're still one of the most unique formulas. No one has been able to dupe these. People have tried and people continue to try, but no one can dupe the Glossier Cloud Paints. I have the shades Puff and Dusk, and together they're the perfect shade, but I like this one. It's a cool tone pink, and this one is more like a peach. I can almost wear this as a cream bronzer, and I do sometimes. But these are just so good, and people talk about them for a reason. I've had these for a few years now, and I'm just now getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run out. These are also good on the lips. I have worn these on the lips, and I've also worn these on the eyes. These create a really, really cool like monochromatic look, especially Puff. I do it with this too, but something about Puff, because it's like one of the more unique colors in my personal collection. I'm sure it's not in other people's, but it just creates such a cool girl, like off, what is that called? Model off the runway? I don't think that's what they call it. Model off duty. That is what I was trying to say. It's like a model off duty look. So these are really great, and I'm not something has to be really, really good for me to go out of my way to order something off of a website that is not Ulta or Sephora. You have to be doing something. So those blushes continue to do something. Speaking of being difficult to order things that aren't Ulta and Sephora, the Auric Glow Lust. I know this is new, so you're like, wait a minute, how can this possibly be a ride or die or like a whatever? But this is a product that I've been searching for years and have not been able to find. I like this as a primer, I like it as a highlight, I like it as a mix-in. Any way that you could possibly wear this product, I like it that way. I know she said she made this so that like you'll never run out of it. I'm going to run out of it at some point because I love it so much. I'm not wearing it today. I was gonna do a reverse foundation and then I forgot, so I ended up not. I just heard a weird noise. But this product is just, it's so, I'm trying to figure out oh, it's my husband's computer that's making that noise. But this is just such a good product. And you can actually also wear it on its own, like this and this together with a little bit of this. Oh, you'll look so good. So this is just so unique in the way that, yes, it was expensive, but it's one of those products that, like, if you're gonna wear this multiple ways, it's worth its weight in gold. I have the shade Selenite, which is not a perfect shade. I probably could have gone down, but it is a really nice yellow gold, so I don't mind it. And I can wear it when I'm self-tanned, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous product. I think Samantha Ravndal is a freaking genius for that product. I don't think it compares to anything that I've tried. I know people have compared it to the Charlotte Tilbury like Flawless Filter, but I've never tried that. So for me, this is like a totally new product. It doesn't compare to anything that I've tried before, and it doesn't look like anything I've tried before on the skin. So I love it so much. So let's talk about powder highlighters, because I have two. When I wanted to talk about highlighters, I knew that I had to talk about a gold and a pink champagne, because those are the two that I use the most often. I actually mixed both of these on my cheeks today. I feel bad talking about this one because it was limited edition, but I just had to because I love it that much, and that's what this video is about. This is the Anastasia Amrezy highlighter. I have like almost hit pan. Can you see that? You can almost see the waffling in this, and I don't hit pan on highlighters. This just melts into the skin. It just melts, and it makes you look like a golden goddess. Like, I can't even explain to you. I actually did not purchase this like from Sephora or Ulta when it came out. I used to be part of this like really cool makeup group, and we would go to this girl's house and like sell each other's makeup or swap makeup or whatever. And a girl had this. It was unopened, untouched. And I was like, how much do you want for it? She said $20. I gave her $20 and I went home with it. And I tried it and I was like, I can't believe that I missed out on this, because it was just something that I completely was like, I'm not going to buy this. I'm not a fan of Amrezy. But you don't have to be a fan of someone to enjoy like a collab like this, because what time is it? They're acting like it is time for dinner, and it's almost time for dinner. But you don't have to like that person to appreciate a product like this. So I really like this. I'm not going to harp on and on because you can't get it, and that's mean. But one that you can get that I also like is Benefit Cookie. This was another one that everyone talked about this, and I was like, there's no way that it's that good. It is that good. I love this so much, and I use this in a multitude of ways. I use it on my eyes. I use it especially in my inner corners. This has been my go-to inner corner shade. It's the best like middle of the face highlight that I've ever tried. I love it on my cheeks. I just love it. I think it's a really, really good highlighter, especially if you have like my skin tone, obviously. But they call it a goldy pearl, but it looks pink. And I think that's like how I would describe it, because you look at this and you think this is going to be a super light pink highlight, but then it goes on. I think part of it is the packaging, but part of it is like it goes on the skin, and it's like, you see what I mean? It's not fully gold, but it's not pink, but it's not pink. I don't know. This is just a really, really good highlighter. I slept on it for a while, and I finally have it, and I'm really, really happy that I got it, because it's really, really good. And it's one that I haven't had in my collection very long, but I know. Sometimes you just know, and that's how I feel about that product. Okay, we have to talk about lips, because I'm wearing the lip products that I'm going to talk about, plus I'm going to talk about a gloss. All of them are from the same brand. I feel like if you've watched any of my videos or seen any of my posts, you'll know exactly what lip products I'm going to talk about. It's the Patrick Ta lip products. I freaking love these so much, and all of them are unique in their own way. So the lip liner, first of all, is just, it's the perfect shade. It's that like that tip that's not fully a tip, so you can wear it as a lipstick. That's the color. It's beautiful. And it looks good with cool tone lipsticks or warm tone lipsticks, but I generally wear this on its own, especially in the days of masks, because I want a lip product, but I don't want something that's going to transfer. So I often reach just for this lip liner. I have not ever found a lip liner that I love like this. And oh my gosh, I wear this every single day. Every day. And that's not an exaggeration. I cannot think of a day that I've worn makeup and not worn this lip liner. That is how much I like it. Now, the next product I did only recently purchase, but listen, again, when you know, you know, and since I've purchased it, I haven't stopped wearing it, and it's the Patrick Ta lipstick in She's Single, Oh She's Single. First of all, it has that velvet look that like the Lisa Eldridge lipsticks has, which I saw that and was like, oh, I need this. It is the same color as What's Your Sign by Kathleen Lights, that collab that she had with ColourPop, but a little bit pinker. And with the lip liner underneath, it's just the perfect nude shade for me. Again, it's what I'm wearing on my lips right now, and I just think it looks so, so beautiful. My favorite combination of all time. And then for gloss, She's an Influencer lip gloss is without a doubt my favorite lip gloss. And it just gives you the prettiest pout. All of these together, like, I think if you only have $100 to spend, I think I bought these two with a $50 gift card. If you only have $100 to spend on something at Sephora, this is what I would purchase. Oh, this. And they have more than just these shades. They have shades that I think could work for a number of different people, not just my skin tone. So I don't know. I love these. And I, again, have talked to death, especially about the lip liner and the lip gloss. Now, the last product I want to talk about is setting spray. And again, this is a newer to me setting spray. And it was one of those things where I went to my drawer and I just kind of I have a hair. I kind of just let my heart decide for me. And the all-nighter was sitting right next to this. And I said, no, I want to pick this because, not just because it's the newest thing I have, because in my makeup drawer, there was tons of things that were newer than the things that I chose. But this is what I was drawn to, that I was like, this is the setting spray that I have to pick. It's the Professional Super Setter from Benefit. And when I first saw Alana Davidson use this, and I was like, it's just a setting spray. Like, what can be so good about it? It reminds me of Urban Decay Chill, which they don't sell anymore, which was my favorite setting spray of all time. Again, they stopped selling it. It reminds me of it. It's the first one that I found that has the longevity that Urban Decay Chill had, that also gives you that glow, because it does make everything melt into the skin, which All Nighter doesn't do. All Nighter is solely a product that you use when you want your makeup to last, which I've used a lot during the pandemic because, you know, I'm wearing a mask all the time, so I want the makeup underneath of it to last. But this gives you the best of both worlds. I love this so, so much. And it has the perfect mister. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but like, that is a good mister. I love it. Oh, I got wet. But it's just so good. It's so, so good. And I'm hoping, one of my biggest gripes with All Nighter is when it gets towards the end, it does splash on you. And actually, honestly, it splashes on you regardless. So I don't love that. So yeah, this is just, it shocked me, it surprised me, and I've worn it every single day since I got it. All right, guys, that completes this video. I feel like I had so much fun doing it and talking about the products that I just love so much, my hero products. So let me know down below what your hero products are. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.